Good morning, Kitchissippi. It is Sunday, May the 14th. This is a video version of the 94th Kitchissippi Ward newsletter. I'll be putting that out by email a little bit later today. If you're not subscribed, the email newsletter does have lots more links and details to the issues that we'll be covering. I would encourage you to subscribe today at kitchissippiward.ca. Relatively brief newsletter this morning. Let's jump right in. First on the newsletter, the Committee of Adjustment. I don't have much more to report. It is still just that May 17th hearing that is online currently, but a quick reminder, there are a number of properties where the owners are seeking severances to establish separate ownerships for units that are currently being built or have recently been constructed. That's the case for 691 and 693 Melbourne, 461 and 463 Dawson, as well as 467 Highcroft. Also on the agenda of the May 17th C of A meeting is at 6971 Holland. The owner is seeking to demolish the existing two buildings and build an 8-story apartment building. They're at the C of A seeking a variance with respect to the step backs on some of the upper floors, so that will be on the agenda. Also on the agenda at 1174 Gladstone, the owner is seeking to put an addition onto the home. They need a number of variances with respect to setbacks and rear yard area. At 373 Princeton, they're going to the committee to establish one separate ownerships for the supportive housing development that will be the old mother house from the rest of the property, which will eventually be filled in with market infill. They're also seeking some variances associated with the supportive housing component on interior side yard setback, driveway width, and parking lot landscaping. And also the last Kitchissippi property on the May 17th hearing, 639 Highland, will be resumed. That was deferred from a previous meeting. Also in the newsletter, details about my pop-up office hours this week. I'll be at the Ministry of Coffee on May the 19th. That's in Hintonburg from 9:30 a.m. until 12:30 p.m. No appointment necessary. Come on by, chat whatever's on your mind about Kitchissippi Ward or the city. A note in the newsletter this week, there have been an elevated number of reports of break-ins, both commercial and residential. I spoke with police about those last week, but a quick reminder, please make sure that your garages and your sheds and your vehicles are locked and secured. Unfortunately, one of those break-ins led to the theft of a significant amount of funding that had been fundraised for the Westboro Preschool, the Westboro Village Preschool Cooperative. There are details in the newsletter about how you can help out with that. Also in the newsletter this week, on May the 23rd, the city will be hosting 2 identical sessions to look at the most recent plans for the Byron Park redevelopment, as well as the Cleary-New Orchard Planning study. It'll be held as an open house format with presentation and Q&A. The first session will be held from 4 until 6. The second session will be held from 6 until 9. There are details about the presentation and Q&A in the newsletter. Those will both be held at the Ukrainian Hall at 1000 Richmond Road. Today I'm standing at Churchill North and Ferndale. There was some flooding damage, especially to basements that were flooded last week as a result of the rise in the Ottawa River. My thanks go out to the city. They responded really quickly with sandbags that you can see behind me. The river was starting to inundate Churchill Avenue particularly. Great team effort by neighbors to get those sandbags filled and out. A number of us felt that for a couple of days. I spent a couple of hours with neighbors getting those sandbags out. There are a couple of important points for those of you who may have been affected by the flooding. So that's at least that I know of on Ferndale, on Churchill, and also on Pontiac in Champlain Park. First, City Council voted last week to defer tax bills for those who were affected by the flooding. And second, the province has activated its disaster relief funding. There's further details of both of those in the newsletter, but you can also go to ottawa.ca. There's an easy link to follow to get to the flooding page. The city has done a magnificent job of keeping that updated. You can find more details about the deferral of the tax bills as well as provincial disaster relief on that page. Note my last one, I guess, for the Mechanicsville Innovation Garden. That's a community garden, big planters and orchard that is in behind the Innovation Center at Bayview Yards. They are seeking some donations of time and equipment. There's a link in the newsletter to their Facebook page. Please follow that and see how you might be able to help them get that community garden underway. Great collaboration between the Somerset West Community Health Center as well as the Mechanicsville Community Association. There are some meetings and items coming up that I've highlighted in the newsletter as well. The Wellington Village Community Association is hosting its annual general meeting this Tuesday, May 16th. That'll be held from 7 until 9 at the Ottawa Bagel Shop. I'll be on hand to provide some updates and answer questions. Also in the newsletter this week, Churchill Alternative School is doing some fundraising in order to rebuild its play yard. There's details in the newsletter about how you can help out. The Friends of Churchill Senior Center is also hosting its annual general meeting that will be held on May the 17th, starting at 11 o'clock in the morning. Again, I'll be on hand to provide some updates as well as answer questions. The Civic Hospital Neighborhood Association is holding its spring general meeting. That's going to be held on May the 23rd from 7 until 8:30 at the Hintonburg Community Association. Hintonburg Community Center. Lastly, in the newsletter at City Hall, not a packed legislative agenda this week, just the Community and Protective Services Committee meets. A couple of juicy items on its agenda. First, there was a response from staff to an inquiry that was made by, I believe it was Councillor Caucus, with respect to aggressive door-to-door salespeople. Most of dealing with aggressive door-to-door salespeople is dealt with either by police or by provincial legislation, but there is a fairly comprehensive review of what that legislation and rules looks like, links to the police pages where you can get more information about how to deal with aggressive salespeople. Also a good reminder in there, your city government, your local utilities, governments generally, don't go door to door with respect to selling anything. Don't hesitate to close the door on door-to-door salespeople. Don't hesitate if you feel uncomfortable to report to police. Really importantly on the the Community and Protective Services Committee agenda this week, they are taking a look at the staff recommendations after a comprehensive review of the noise bylaw. After months of consultation, that has come down to recommendations with respect to a better definition and treatment of base noise. Also, they are seeking to reduce the maximum threshold for construction noise, seeking to exempt municipal waste collection from the noise bylaw, enabling the city to lay charges for after-hours deliveries and private waste collection, something I'm particularly keen to see, and reducing the time a car alarm can go off from 20 minutes to 5 before charges can be laid. Again, in the newsletter, you'll see a link to the Community and Protective Services Committee agenda where you can find both of those reports. In my own agenda, there's nothing particularly huge and standout. Those various meetings that I talked about earlier, and a number of discussions with residents, with builders, with the city, construction projects, LRT, traffic, and construction. Kitchissippi, it is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to the moms out there. I'm sure at some point we're going to see some sun. Stay dry, Kitchissippi, and have a great week.